I'll be honest. I started skipping a lot of the cleaning I used to do, and somehow my house actually started looking cleaner. I used to think I had to deep clean everything from top to bottom just to keep up. But it turns out a few tiny habits like 30 seconds here and a minute there made a bigger difference than hours of cleaning. If you are tired of cleaning all the time only to wake up the next day and feel like your space is messy again, I really think you will want to hear these lazy habits. I have been trying them myself, and honestly, it feels like I finally found something that works. Less effort, less mess, and a lot less stress. So in this video, I am sharing 14 small cleaning habits that actually make a big difference even if you are not in the mood to clean. Let's get into it. The first habit I want to share is switching from a plastic shower curtain to a cotton one. I used to use those cheap plastic liners because that's just what everyone seemed to have. But they never looked clean, no matter how often I wiped them. The bottom would turn yellow, and I'd end up replacing the whole thing every few months. It felt wasteful and kind of gross. One day I was doing laundry and thought, what if I could just wash the curtain like I do my towels? So I bought a basic cotton shower curtain, nothing fancy, just something neutral that matched my bathroom. And it made such a difference. First, it hangs better. It doesn't cling to you when you're in the shower. It dries quickly. And when it needs cleaning, I just throw it in the wash. That's it. No scrubbing. Since making that change, I've noticed I spend way less time fussing with the bathroom. It just stays looking fresh longer. I also like that it feels softer in the space, not so plasticky. It sounds like a small thing, but it's made this daily area of my home feel calmer. And when something feels calm, it's easier to keep it tidy without even trying. So if you're still using plastic, this might be one of those little upgrades that saves you time and effort without adding more to your to-do list. No special routine, just a quick swap that takes the stress out of one annoying corner of the house. That's the kind of habit I'm always looking for. Simple, easy, and it works. And speaking of small changes that make life feel lighter, in the next video, we'll explore a few everyday habits from Dutch life things that help you enjoy your day more. Take better care of yourself and feel a little more grounded even when things are busy. You don't want to miss that. But for now, let's move on to the next habit in this video. The second habit is using 2 pillowcases instead of one. It might sound unnecessary at first, but it actually makes a big difference in how often you need to wash or replace your pillows. I started doing this after noticing how quickly my pillows would get stained even with regular washing. Makeup sweat oil from my skin, it all soaks through the pillowcase and gets into the pillow itself. And once a pillow starts smelling or showing stains, there's not much you can do. Some can't even be washed properly. So I started using a second pillowcase underneath. I just layer them like a little barrier. The top one is the one I wash every week, and the one underneath stays cleaner for longer. It gives that extra layer of protection without adding any extra work. When the outer case starts looking worn or dirty, I can just peel it off and there's a clean one ready underneath. This habit is especially helpful if you wear skincare at night, have pets that sleep on the bed, or just want to make your bedding last longer. It keeps your pillows fresher without having to deep clean them all the time or buy new ones too soon. And the best part is, it doesn't feel like an extra step. You're already putting on a pillowcase, so just add one more. It's the kind of small change that saves time in the long run. Fewer pillow stains, less laundry stress, and your bed stays looking and feeling fresh a lot longer. Little things like this make everyday upkeep feel easier. That's why it's become a habit I stick with. The third habit is placing a light throw blanket on top of your main bedding. I started doing this when I realized how often I was washing our comforter. Between the kids climbing on the bed, my dog jumping up without warning, and me tossing a pile of clean clothes there while folding laundry, our bed was constantly getting dirty. And washing a big comforter is not something I enjoy. It takes forever to dry, and honestly, I kept putting it off because it felt like such a chore. So instead of trying to keep the whole bed perfectly clean, I started using a thin throw or lightweight blanket across the foot of the bed, or wherever it tends to get messy. That way the comforter stays clean a lot longer, and I only need to toss the small blanket into the laundry each week. It's easier, quicker, and makes a big difference. I also like that it gives the bed a finished look without me having to do any extra styling. And if something spills or there's pet hair, I don't stress about it. I just wash the throw and put it right back on. This habit has saved me time, energy, and quite a few trips to the laundromat. If you're someone who uses your bed throughout the day or shares it with pets or little ones, this is a simple way to protect your bedding without making more work for yourself. It's a small layer that adds both comfort and practicality. And that's exactly the kind of habit I try to build into my routines. The fourth habit is putting a laundry basket in every bedroom. This might seem obvious, but for a long time, our family used just one hamper in the hallway. It seemed efficient until I realized I was constantly picking up clothes from the floor because no one wanted to walk across the house just to drop off a t-shirt or a pair of socks. Dirty clothes would pile up on chairs the end of the bed or just stay on the floor until I got frustrated enough to deal with it. Once I placed a simple basket in each room, everything changed. The kids started tossing their clothes in without being asked. My husband actually used his. And I didn't have to go room to room collecting laundry like I was on a scavenger hunt. It took away a small daily annoyance that used to drain me more than I realized. The best part is it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Even a basic plastic bin works. What matters is that it's easy to reach and clearly meant for dirty clothes. When you remove the friction, people naturally follow through. And when it's time to do laundry, I can just grab the whole basket from each room and go. This habit might not feel like a cleaning tip, but it actually helps keep bedrooms looking neater with almost no effort. Less clutter on the floor means less visual stress. And the easier it is to put something away, the more likely it is to stay off the ground. That's a win in my book. Number 5 is something I started doing by accident, but now I do it almost every day without thinking. After a hot shower when the mirror is all fogged up, I just grab a towel and give it a quick wipe. That's it. No sprays, no glass cleaner, no scrubbing. Just one easy swipe while the steam is still fresh. The reason this works so well is because the moisture softens up any smudges or dust on the surface. You don't need pressure. You don't even need a clean towel. I often use the one I just dried off with. It sounds almost too simple, but it makes such a difference. The mirror stays clean and clear, and I never have to stand there later wondering when I last wiped it down. Before this, I'd let the mirror get cloudy for days. Toothpaste splatters, fingerprints, dust, it all built up fast. And then cleaning it felt like one more thing I didn't have the energy for. But now it's part of my routine without feeling like a task. This tiny habit takes less than 10 seconds, but it keeps one part of the bathroom looking fresh with zero effort. And when one thing looks clean, it has this ripple effect. The space feels calmer. It gives that little boost of, okay, this room's not a disaster even if everything else is still a work in progress. Number 6 is using 2 doormats instead of one. One goes outside your front door and the other goes just inside. This tiny setup has made a big difference in how much dirt we track through the house. I used to only have one mat, the kind you wipe your feet on before coming inside, and I thought that was enough. But our floors near the door always seemed dusty or full of little things like leaves, gravel, or dog hair even when I had just cleaned. Then I tried adding a second mat inside, and right away I could tell it was working better. The outside mat gets the big stuff off your shoes. The inside mat catches the rest things you don't even realize are still there until they end up on your floor. I don't remind anyone to wipe their feet. Just walking over both mats is enough to make a difference. I like this habit because it doesn't require anyone in the house to do anything extra. It's not a chore. It's just there working all the time in the background. And when they get dirty, I either shake them out or throw the fabric ones in the washer. It takes 5 minutes, and it saves me from having to mop the entryway or vacuum every other day. If you have pets or kids, this makes even more sense. Their shoes, paws, or bags carry in all kinds of things. With 2 mats in place, less of that spreads across the house. The entry stays cleaner, which means everything beyond it stays cleaner too. It's one of those habits you don't think about until you try it and wonder why you didn't do it sooner. 7th on the list is something I didn't do for years, and now I wish I had started sooner, keeping a separate pair of shoes just for inside the house. At first it felt unnecessary. I mean, we weren't walking through mud. But then I started noticing how quickly our floors got dusty even after I had just cleaned. Tiny bits of dirt, crumbs, gravel from the driveway, all of it was coming in on our shoes without us realizing. Once I got into the habit of switching to indoor slippers or soft house shoes as soon as I came in, the difference was immediate. The floors stayed cleaner longer. I didn't feel grit underfoot. I wasn't dragging the vacuum out nearly as often. And it made our home feel more like a place to relax, not just somewhere to walk through on the way to doing something else. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, just something easy to slip on that you only wear indoors. I keep mine by the door and change into them without thinking now. It's become automatic. My kids do it too. No reminders needed. This small habit adds up over time. Less dirt coming in means less work later. And if you've ever had to mop the hallway 3 days in a row, you'll understand why this one's worth it. It keeps things cleaner, it feels better under your feet, and honestly, it just makes home feel a little more like a place to rest. The 8th habit is keeping a lint roller or a small handheld brush somewhere visible right where the mess tends to happen. I used to keep those things tucked away in a drawer or cabinet, which meant I rarely reached for them unless the mess was big enough to annoy me. But by then, it already felt like a chore. Now I hang one in the hallway near the couch, another in the entryway by the shoes, and sometimes even keep one on a shelf in the bedroom. These are the spots where I usually spot pet hair crumbs or random fuzz. When it's right there in front of me, I don't overthink it. I just reach for it and swipe a few times while walking by. This habit has helped me stop waiting for cleaning time to deal with small messes. I no longer need to set aside a block of time to vacuum every little surface. Those quick moments with the roller keep things looking decent, especially in high traffic spots where clutter builds fast. The best part is when guests drop by, or when I want to sit down and relax, I'm not distracted by a million little things that need attention. It feels like my space is under control even if I haven't done a full clean. Sometimes the most helpful tools are the ones you can see. This is one of them. 9th on the list is using a small basket or bin to quickly gather up toys and random items from the floor before vacuuming. I used to feel so frustrated every time I wanted to clean the living room. I'd bring out the vacuum ready to go and then realize the floor was covered in stuff. Socks, toy cars, tiny building blocks, papers, and sometimes even food wrappers. And it always felt like I couldn't clean anything until I handled everything else first. The problem was, by the time I finished picking up all those little things, I'd run out of energy, or get distracted, or start cleaning something else and never make it back to the vacuuming. The whole thing became more complicated than it needed to be. Now I don't overthink it. I grab a basket and walk through the room quickly, scooping up whatever's in the way. I don't stop to sort it. I don't try to put every item back where it belongs. I just collect what's on the floor and move on. Once the floor is clear, I can vacuum right away. And that alone makes the whole room feel cleaner almost instantly. Sometimes I go through the basket later and put things away. Other times I leave it for the weekend. Either way, I've already done the part that matters most, getting the mess off the floor so I can actually clean. It sounds like such a small thing, but for me, it turned vacuuming from a full project into a quick win I could actually finish. 10th on the list is placing a pack of wet wipes or a small container of cleaning cloths right on or near the dining table. This might sound too simple to matter, but it's actually one of the easiest ways to stay on top of daily messes. After meals, there are always crumbs, little spills, or sticky spots on the table. And if you're anything like me, sometimes you mean to clean it later and then just forget or leave it for the next meal, which makes the mess worse. By keeping wipes within arm's reach, it takes just a few seconds to wipe down the table after eating. No digging under the sink for cleaning spray. It becomes a natural part of sitting down and getting up from the table. I've even noticed that my kids are more likely to help wipe the surface when the wipes are already right there. I usually keep the wipes in a small container that matches the space so it doesn't look out of place. Some days I use store-bought baby wipes. Other times, I just dampen a few cloths and keep them in a box or bowl for the day. Either way, having them close by makes it way more likely that I'll actually use them. This habit has helped keep our dining space cleaner without ever feeling like a chore. It also cuts down on dried messes that are harder to clean later. And when the space where you eat stays tidy, it makes the whole kitchen feel more under control. It's a small move, but one that keeps your hands, your table, and your daily routine just a little smoother. 11th on the list is clearing the table right after dinner. Not 20 minutes later. Not after the kids go to bed. Not when you finally have energy again. Just right after the meal while you're still in the rhythm of the evening. I used to let the table sit. I'd think I'd come back to it in a bit, but usually I didn't. The plates would stay there. The crumbs would dry out. Someone would leave a wrapper or a book, and before I knew it, the whole table turned into a dumping ground for whatever was in people's hands. Now we clear it right away. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be quiet or pretty. But the dishes go to the sink, any trash gets tossed, and the table gets wiped. It takes 3 minutes, maybe 5 if we're all a bit slow, and it changes how the rest of the night feels. When the table is clean, I feel more relaxed sitting nearby. The kitchen feels lighter. Even if the sink is still full, that flat, clear space sends a message the day is winding down and the mess isn't taking over. Sometimes I'll ask for help. One person gathers the plates. Someone else wipes. If I'm alone, I just do it slowly and remind myself that I'll be glad tomorrow morning. Because I always am. Waking up to a clear table instead of yesterday's leftovers is one of those little wins. 12th on the list is using a tray or silicone mat underneath your dish soap and sponge. It's one of those small things that doesn't seem important until you try it. I used to place my sponge and soap bottle directly on the kitchen counter, and I never thought much of it until I started noticing the mess it left behind. There was always a little puddle of water soap residue or gunk that built up under the bottle. Sometimes it even left marks that were hard to scrub off. Now I keep everything on a small tray. You can use a silicone mat, a plastic lid, or even a shallow dish. Anything that's easy to rinse or wipe down. I place my sponge dish brush and soap bottle right on it. When the tray gets dirty, I clean just that, not the whole countertop. This simple habit helps the sink area look cleaner without me doing more work. It also makes the space feel more organized. All the little cleaning tools are contained in one spot instead of scattered around. And honestly, it saves me from that low-key frustration of always seeing water stains or soap trails around the sink. If you want to make it feel a bit nicer, you can choose a mat that matches your countertop, or keep it neutral so it blends in. This is one of those easy upgrades that quietly makes your kitchen feel calmer. Less mess, less wiping, and a little more peace every time you walk by the sink. 13th on the list is placing a thin towel or cloth on your fridge shelves. It might not look like much, but this simple habit makes cleaning your fridge way easier. I used to get annoyed every time something spilled inside. A bottle would leak, a veggie bag would leave crumbs, and cleaning those glass shelves always felt like a chore. Now I just line each shelf with a soft kitchen towel or a piece of cloth I already have at home. When something drips or makes a mess, the towel catches it. And when it gets dirty, I throw it in the laundry and put down a clean one. That's it. No scrubbing, no bending over the fridge with a sponge. Just a quick switch. This habit saves me time and keeps the fridge from turning into one big, sticky project. It also helps me notice messes earlier before they spread. You don't need anything fancy. Just use old dish towels or cut-up fabric that fits the shelves. If you have kids or groceries that sometimes leak, this makes a big difference. It's one of those little things that doesn't feel like cleaning but keeps the space feeling fresher with almost no effort. Last but not least is cleaning your appliances regularly. Things like your washing machine, dishwasher, garbage disposal, and sink drain. These are all tools that help keep your home clean, but we often forget that they need to be cleaned too. I used to wonder why my dishes didn't feel completely clean even after the dishwasher ran, or why my clothes didn't smell as fresh after washing. Turns out the machines themselves had built up grime that I wasn't paying attention to. Now I set a reminder once a month to do a quick clean. I use basic cleaning tablets or run an empty cycle with vinegar depending on what it is. It takes just a few minutes to start, and I let the machine do the rest. The difference it makes is noticeable. My laundry smells better. My dishes come out sparkling. The sink doesn't have that faint odor hanging around. And I'm not stuck dealing with clogs or musty smells down the line. This habit is easy to forget but hard to live without once you start doing it. It prevents problems before they show up and keeps everything working the way it's supposed to. You don't have to scrub or take anything apart. Just a simple, scheduled clean to keep your appliances doing their job right. It's one of those things that feels like maintenance, but it ends up saving you time and stress in the long run. Clean machines clean better, and that makes everything else feel a little easier. That's everything for today. I hope at least one of these habits feels doable for you. Something small you can try this week to make life at home a little easier and less overwhelming. In the next video, we'll talk about a few simple habits inspired by everyday life in the Netherlands. These are things that can help you feel calmer, take better care of yourself, and enjoy your day a little more without needing big changes. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.